Welcome back to Tarot at the Rising Moon. I'm back doing a pick a card after a long break in which I completed a healing and a spiritual journey. And today's pick a card subject is how can I jump to my highest timeline, which is the same thing as getting your best outcomes. Sometimes we have blockages, sometimes we need new techniques to be in alignment. That's what the aim of this is, whatever it is you're trying to manifest in the law of attraction or through other practices. This particular reading is going to give you some advice on how to reach your goals. How do I jump to my highest timeline? There are 3 piles. Take a moment, concentrate on them. See which one really stands out to you. You're going to have a brief insert here with just the piles where you can sit and concentrate for a moment. See which one stands out to you. That is the message you are most meant to receive. If more than one pile calls out to you, by all means, watch as many as you like. I will see you at the time of your reading. Welcome back. If you chose pile number 1, then this is your reading. We are using the Radiant Wilds Tarot for your predictive spread. I'm using a spirit guide spread. We're going to put the number 1 over there so it's easy to fast forward to, but there are, as always, timestamps in the description box down below. So, wow. I did shuffle a little bit beforehand. The 9 of Cups, which is a manifestation energy. So that's an auspicious beginning. What does pile number 1 need to know to be able to jump to their highest timeline? One of the things you want to keep in mind with timelines is that occasionally you'll have to do some work with Reiki or energy healing to dissolve blockages, to jump to your next timeline. They are all over YouTube. Your guides will help you find the one that is right for you. The work is pretty rapid when you're pretty far along on your spiritual journey. If you still have some things from the Dark Night of the Soul, which is our shadow work, to complete, then, just lean in on doing it and it gets done more quickly. But we have a 9 of Cups as our first card in this, which is the card of abundance. It's the card of manifestation. It's the card of wish fulfillment and of dreams come true. This first line of cards are 3D energies, and then we'll get to the subconscious issues afterwards. 4 of Pentacles in the upright is a block, okay? So that is something blocking it. I have the Page of Cups in the upright. Okay, that is likely to be forgiveness. The only thing you'd want to do on that is to lean in on doing some work with the energy healers of YouTube. I like Sound Energy Alchemist. I like Whispers of the Wolf. Blended Insight is also very good. Sacred Subliminals is also very good. I have the Page of Wands in reverse. Yeah. You have just a little bit of resentment left to release on something that's in your heart chakra. So you can work on your heart chakra, and that is the thing that's most likely to help you release that. It's usually just from wounds that, are, sometimes our core wounds remain a little bit permanent and we have to revisit it. You can kind of, you want to look at your timeline as almost like a frequency that you're tuning into. And sometimes you'll lose the signal and you have to do a little bit of work to get it back. And that's all that looks like it's here. And then I have the 7 of Cups in reverse, which is solid things coming into fruition. This is a making a plan and committing to it card. Now we're getting to some underlying issues card here. The Strength card in the upright. The Strength card is the ability to do it all and to have it all, and you have the energy and you have the strength. It's also the Leo card. Astrological meanings are not likely to apply with this particular reading. Ace of Wands in reverse, okay. This is a considered action card. It's not going to take much, actually. I have the Knight of Cups in the upright, which is dreams coming true. I knew this was the right deck to choose because it's got such vibrant energy. I have the 7 of Wands, which is overcoming some frustration and anger. Work on your sacral chakra. carefully. Whenever people in my collective, I have a Patreon where like I do weekly readings, and we're always working on what we need to heal in order to manifest and what techniques to use. And so this is going to echo a little bit of it, which is that I tell people in my Patreon, please only work on your sacral chakra if you've had to recover from toxic relationships, including abuse in childhood. If you have to recover from that, only work on your sacral chakra at the beginning of the day, and choose a short video. Like 10 minutes is great, up to about 20 is fine. Anything more than that, it will kick you in the subconscious, and you're very, very likely to have disturbing dreams or disproportionate anger. So we have a little bit of work on your heart chakra, a little bit on your sacral chakra. What else have we got? I've got the Queen of Wands in reverse, yeah. Tendency towards impatience. Patience is the hardest thing to conquer in this entire thing, because if it's not happening, it's not time for it to happen, and that can be the hardest thing to hear. Divine timing does not exist on a clock or a calendar. It exists in a state of energetic alignment. Let's get your last two tarot cards, and we'll move on to some oracle cards as well. Ten of Wands, releasing stress, and then I have the Six of Cups, from past relationships. Okay, so we've got some work for you to do. By the way, excellent energy on all of this, whatever it is you're trying to manifest, and that's going to differ from person to person. We have a slight heart block in your heart chakra. I am not going to recommend longer videos on this, but if you want to, meditate to them. The other thing you can do that is actually incredibly beneficial when you're trying to heal any of your chakras is to play the recordings in headphones. It can be out loud, but it works best in headphones. On headphones as you prepare dinner or as you do chores or anything that you will then reap the rewards of that activity over and over again. So if you're cooking and you're listening to a heart chakra healing, then what happens is the food that you are making, it's almost a form of low-level kitchen magic, is imbued with the energy of the recording that you're doing. And so then when you eat the meal, you're ingesting that energy again. When you digest that food, which can take a very long time, then you're ingesting that energy again. It makes that energy give back over and over and over again. A release of a feeling of urgency is one of the things that you want to repeat. I release all urgency. I release all need to know specifics is another one. You don't have to work on your third eye at all. You do need to work a little bit on the sacral chakra, as we've covered. Please remember, when you work on your sacral chakra, you may experience some frustration in that day or the next day. And again, watch out for weird dreams. Timeline on this is actually looking pretty good because I have wands, which are the quickest manifesting energy. The cups, again, it's all about, there's a little bit of emotional fluctuation, which powerful people frequently have, emotional fluctuation. We're going to use the hummingbird wisdom next on this. Wherever possible, I've got the boxes out so that people can see the names of the decks that I am using. What's your advice here? Time frame, it's within the next 3 months. Just get to work on releasing all frustration and all impatience. I would do some work with repeating mantras about choosing peace, choosing patience. There are some everything works at the perfect time type of mantras and subliminals that would likely help as well. Please remember, you can record your own and get really, really good benefits from that. If you're uncomfortable with your own voice, that means that you have some self-love healing to do. All right, here we go. We have a powerful warrior. Do not feel small. You are stronger, braver, and more, this is terrible lighting, more valued than you know. It's time to tap into your true source of power. Wow, I really could not see that in this particular lighting, and you may not be able to either. The powerful warrior energy, please understand that one of the things that can help release blockages is having some form of flow exercise in your life. Some people do great with yoga. Some people do great with Tai Chi. Please don't buy into the Tai Chi walking thing. That's just a fad. It's not a real thing. Tai Chi is real, but when they try to commercialize anything, it becomes a little bit corrupted by a greed attachment. So you're just going to want to do Qigong or Tai Chi practices, or some form of yoga. Shoot for shorter versus longer because you've got an impatience marker. 10 to 15 minutes is perfect. You'll start noticing a difference usually within about 3 days of that. This will increase your personal power and stamina. Please be aware that a level of fatigue is actually quite normal when we are dealing with healing and unburdening ourselves during a spiritual journey, particularly the long dark night of the soul. These are the, they're not going to have the name on them, but they're the Purple Canyon Wellness cards. And I like them. I like them. They're very positive. When you're using oracle cards, please have a little bit of a mix of, both the dark and the light, because shadow work continues throughout the course of our life. It's never truly completed. So after you've completed the work on your sacral chakra and your heart chakra, and done the work around the little bit, it's so tiny, there's just a retained feeling of frustration with somebody else in your heart. That's what I've got. I'm picking up on this one. Please remember that other people are rarely trying to do anything to us. They're usually just in their own space and they're thinking about their own needs. And sometimes it can be really painful. But like when you start viewing it that way, when you start viewing everybody as being like, well, everybody has their own stuff and they have their own burdens and, they probably weren't thinking about me. They have something to heal. When you make what other people do about what they have to heal, it's a lot easier to release any retained energy. Circle of life. All the relationships in my life should bring me peace, happiness, and growth. It is worth analyzing which relationships in my life are not serving me as I serve them. Just like Earth's trees and creatures, my relationships must give and take equally. One of the things that we don't talk too much about in the old long dark night of the soul, which is part of a spiritual activation or spiritual alignment or spiritual evolution, all these things mean the same thing, is that a lot of relationships will be released. As you heal, which is the same thing as like a little bit like detoxing your soul from the lower aspect attachments that are so common in our 3D world, like greed, like envy, like anger. By the way, when you're a powerful person and you can manifest, expect to have that little bit of spark. Don't judge yourself for having lots of power. When you have a big, overwhelming emotion of any kind, just remind yourself that is my power. I'm a powerful being and that is my power. The circle of life, one of the things that you want to do on this forgiveness thing is examine which of the relationships in your life, they may no longer be present, that you need to do a little bit of forgiveness work around where you just release that person to learn their own lessons, understanding that people are actually meant to come and go. And that is one of the hardest lessons for people to incorporate into their soul sometimes. It's like sometimes people are meant to just be on their way. This is a very powerful energy on this. Examine the relationships in your life as well for where they stand in, like, do they still match who you are? Because one of the hardest things about a spiritual journey is that, we have to leave some people to do their own work because we move to a different path. And it's not a higher path, it's a different path. Everybody comes to their truth within their own time. The time for romance has come. See it as an opportunity for radiant life. Awesome. This is delightful because this is another one about trying to open up your heart chakra. The heart chakra ones, you can fall asleep to the ones that are incredibly long if you want to, because the greatest thing about the heart chakra, although it will release grief, when you start working on any chakra, any energy, you can use tuning forks too if you don't resonate with the concept of chakras. You'll see healing vibrations and healing frequencies for the heart, as for instance. One of the great things about the heart chakra is you can't overdo it. But what it will release at first is grief and sadness, and then that retained feeling of, instead of like releasing somebody with love for their journey, which is not quite the same thing as like, I hope that you're incredibly happy. Instead, what you're hoping for is that the person that, you release them from your energy and move on to a different path, understanding that no matter what they did or didn't do, whether or not they met your matched energy, whether or not they matched energy with you in a relationship, doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you're lovable. Opening up to the concept of love, universal love. You can feel like you're in love every single day of your life when you're on a spiritual journey. We have leadership. Okay. That's another strength card on the back. I've got flow on the back of it, and I just felt a weird urge to check it. So leadership is about personal power, complete sacral chakra work, heart chakra work, Solar plexus would come after that. I don't think you really need the leadership work as much as understanding that leadership is about having control of your personal power. People have a tendency to be reactionary with anger because they're ashamed of having anger. Like it's the opposite of a spiritual energy. Anger is protecting something, usually a feeling of grief or loss. And so when you're working on your heart chakra, you might end up crying a little bit. When you're working on your sacral chakra, you might end up getting angry. There's important news here. There's nothing on your crown chakra. There's nothing on your third eye. There's nothing on your throat chakra here. This is all the bottom 4 chakras. So heart, solar plexus, sacral, and then root. You've got nothing on your root. When you're doing something to be in flow, like it's a meditative practice. Not everybody resonates with the idea of sitting and being still and connecting. One of the ways that I teach people to connect is to assume bamboo in the wind pose from Tai Chi, and that is one of the ways to bring yourself into alignment. It's done by standing with your feet close together on a solid object. It's best to be the ground without shoes on, but you can have socks on. And you just your balance is a teeny tiny bit challenged, so you're swaying ever so slightly. You put your hands right below your belly button, crossed across your bottom, your lower abdomen, and you breathe in and out. And it's called belly breathing, where you can feel your belly move out and then the air moving up into your lungs, and then you release. This is another way you can do that release work. So if you do that sacral chakra work, and the sacral chakra is important for manifestation. If it's blocked by frustration, by anger, it really does slow things down. When you're doing sacral chakra work, if you then do an alignment like that, it is and you may feel like pent up, like I'm jittery, like I had too much coffee. Do that alignment work, bamboo in the wind, you should be able to feel it release. Okay, let's go on to another one. How are we doing on time here? We're doing great. Gonna try and keep this around 20 minutes. There we go. Let's go here. What else does pile number 1 need to know? So a little stuck energy in the sacral chakra blocking a full-scale manifestation. You want to be in alignment. And by the way, doing your shadow work before things manifest is very important, because if we manifest before we've done our shadow work, I did a podcast on logical magic, which is on this channel as well, about the tower and how anything built on a faulty foundation must fall. And an unhealed foundation is a faulty foundation, which is why sometimes things get held in stasis and we're not able to move forward at the pace that we want to. This is the Mind Info Oracle cards. It was translated from Chinese, I think, and sometimes it will have a very slightly odd translation. It's an excellent deck. All right, what do we got? Let it go. You're being asked to let go of whatever pain and resentment. That's the sacral chakra. Pain and resentment you've been holding on to. It's hurting you, and you can't be fully present in your life if you're holding on to this negativity. Release it and be free. So, sacral chakra release, sacral chakra release, sacral chakra release. And then the heart chakra activation. So we're trying to, and do it in that order, please. Don't do the heart and then do the sacral. And just keep in mind, sacral chakra can make you feel a little bit funky, and that's about it. We're going to finish up here with the Starseed Oracle. So, to jump to your highest timeline, start working on your sacral chakra, then move to your heart chakra, then move to your solar plexus chakra. The root chakra work you were doing is not healing frequencies and not tuning forks. Instead, it is connection through some sort of grounding flow practice like Tai Chi, like yoga. It can be meditation. If you really are not at that stage yet, then please remember you can listen to the healing recordings as you do something like housework. If you do something in the 3D that mimics the idea that you're working on something like house cleaning, like cooking, like all of the other things, then it helps speed up the process of releasing that energy. Starseed Oracle to the rescue. Let's go here. Okay, blue star. Follow the light of your inner compass, the blue star. It will lead you to the truth that resides within your soul. So, the thing I want you to understand about your psychic abilities is that they come in at a subconscious level, and you will feel the urges to do what you are meant to achieve what you're trying to in the highest timeline, to the law of attraction and manifesting what you want. Is that you're not going to get very many psychic visions on it. It exists at a subconscious level. And the one thing I want to teach you before we go on this particular pile is please do not forget there's a difference between your anxiety and your intuition. And the way I've been teaching it recently is that if it ends in a question mark, it is your anxiety. If it ends in a period, it is your intuition. The other way of thinking about it is anxiety is guessing, guessing, guessing. Maybe what if this happens? What if that happens? That has nothing to do with your anxiety, with your intuition. It's the exact opposite energy. And your intuition is knowing, and it's actually very, very calm. So if you think you know something and it's making you angry, it's making you sad, and sometimes even if it's making you super duper duper happy, you need to remember your intuition is a very emotionally void space. After you get the information, some emotional energy may come back to you, but initially it is a very, very clear space. Okay, so that's part of the way that you find your inner compass. Hey, if you need to find me for a reading to help you further develop your goals, you can find me at therisingmoon.com. We can, that's the only way to book me. I won't approach you in comment sections or anywhere else. We can work on what's holding you back in manifesting what you're hoping to and help you with connecting psychically. If you want, I have a podcast, Logical Magic Examining Esoterica, out the first Thursday of every month. It's here on this particular tarot at the Rising Moon YouTube channel, and it's also on every podcast service. I haven't done this in a while, so I'm not used to my clothes anymore. My closing remarks versus my clothes, I'm wearing clothes. And I think that's actually it, but thank you so much for joining me. If you would subscribe, that helps my channel and it helps support what I do. And then I have a Patreon where I do weekly readings and we talk about manifestation and do collective readings every week to see what challenges or what benefits each week brings. Okay? It was good to read for you. Take care. Welcome back to Tarot at the Rising Moon. Hey, we are using the Floral Tarot for pile number 2. If you pick pile number 2, this is your reading. There are timestamps in the description box down below, as there always are. We're going to be using a spirit guide spread for what does pile number 2 need to do to jump to their highest timeline. This is likely to be advice about what energy centers you need to heal. Sometimes it might be some 3D advice, so we'll see. Let's see what's coming up for pile number 2. Please don't forget to subscribe. It helps my channel. And if you'd like to hit the thumbs up button, that also helps. There we go. We're going to get going on this one. Alrighty. I have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, which is the need to let things go. Relax into the flow. Don't try too hard to control your outcomes. That's the thing in the law of attraction, which is really trying to, when we jump to our highest timeline, we're getting our best possible outcomes. And that's what we're always trying to tune our frequency towards. And one of the things that we have to do is allow things to take the pace that they need to quit trying so incredibly hard. So this is often one of those, let it go. And if you've had failures in the past, the way to reframe that is those were my lessons. Every single success story you've ever seen contains the first mistakes that you didn't get to see, okay? We have the Four of Wands in the upright. That is the 1111 card. That is the spirit guide energy as well. I have the Two of Swords in the upright. We have a slight block in your psychic eye, so we need to be working on your third eye chakra. Third eye chakra, it's a hard one to know what time of day to do that. If you're prone to nightmares, please don't do it right before you go to sleep. Otherwise, it is the best time to do it because your best psychic information, your best spirit guide messages are inserted into your subconscious. Do not expect a herald in your brain and a megaphone and, I am the Archangel Gabriel. Don't expect that part. What you need to know when you contact your guides is inserted at a subconscious level so it helps guide your actions. So we need a little third eye work. Five of Swords in reverse. Yet another. This is the Know You Know Better card. It's the battles you know better than to engage in. It is also surrender. There's a lot of surrender energy on this one. The Tower in the upright. One of the prettiest towers with a phoenix on it. It is a really pretty tower. I have a good relationship to the tower. My last podcast was actually about the tower because it's about divine intervention. You have to relax and invite in divine intervention. Set an intention before you're working on your third eye. I want to get some subconscious things here before I talk about how you're going to be working on your third eye to try and invite in more spirit guide guidance. With the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. That is another card to relax. It's one of the cards about not learning a lesson on something. If you struggle with letting things go, no, that's completely normal. Very, very powerful people are very tenacious. But you just have to, when a thought rises up in your mind, you have to acknowledge it and say, I'm letting that go. I know why that happened. It's over. I am here. I am now. I'm in this present moment. We have the King of Cups in reverse. That can be a narcissism energy, but it can also be emotional dysregulation. Let's talk a little bit about the concept of narcissism, because you might have been involved with the empath narcissist paradigm in the past. Narcissism is not a psychological label when we talk about it in spiritual communities. Someone can be a narcissist within just the context of a relationship where all they care about is their needs. It usually has to do with the way they were socialized to view partnership. So that's one of the things that could be at the root of it. Then we have the Nine of Pentacles in the upright, which is independence. It is privilege. It is receiving. Okay, slight block on that. We're going to look at that for a second. The Empress in the upright, the birth of new things. We've got another crown energy on this one. Interesting. I have the Lovers in reverse, which is being in alignment. That is an awesome, awesome energy to have. I'm going to try this. High Priestess, outcome not being owned, and then the Three of Wands in the upright, which is the opportunity card as well. It's the ship coming in. I need you to understand something, pile number 2, and it can get very frustrating for people who are like, but I know I'm kind of psychic because I have really, really good timing. That doesn't mean you're supposed to know things ahead of time. Being psychic, like the people who do this for a living, I don't even get readings any longer from anybody else. You know what you need to know when you need to know it. And aligning yourself with your best practices is one of the things that can truly, truly help. There's a little bit of an emotional dysregulation issue on this where you may be repressing emotions is the one that I find the most often because we're afraid of things that we deem negative emotions. The only, to allow yourself to, sometimes it helps to use what's called a self-trigger or a facilitation tool where you kind of go towards the energy that you're like, I feel like I need to cry, but I can't cry. I'm not letting out my emotions. I feel like I'm mad, but I don't know how to get mad. You dance around like aggressively when you're angry, and that helps get that energy out. Sometimes you're retaining a little bit of energy. It's blocking your third eye. A little bit of a call to clean up your diet, just the tiniest little bit. Please remember, we're going to have you working on your third eye chakra at night for the most part, unless you're prone to dreams. It's not on this table, but if you happen to be prone to bad dreams that are upsetting, you wake up upset the next day, then you're going to want to switch it to first thing in the morning. In terms of who it could work, I like healing vibrations, chakra vibrations. It's Travis, the guy with the cat and the ceiling sound bowls. He does really, really good work and has very, very good intent. There are a bunch of tuning fork people as well, but please remember, if you run a search on YouTube, your guide's going to lead you to what is right for you. So we need a little bit of work on your sacral chakra, but it would help if you did something beforehand to make sure that no retained emotions that you're trying not to. People want to get through with their shadow work before it's actually done. And so they practice a little bit of avoidance. And that's all I've got here. There's some retained energy from an old relationship, potentially with someone who was emotionally self-involved. Your power is your own. And so people were attracted to it in the past to try and harness that for themselves. And that's one of the things that you can start telling yourself about relationships from the past, is they do actually follow along those kinds of lines. The only thing is that you really will, once you're really surrendered to the, I don't have to know what's going to happen. I need to know how to heal myself so that my inner eye is functioning and my inner guidance system, which does not exist on a conscious level, is guiding me throughout the course of the day. A little bit of goddess work is being called for here as well. This is one of the cards for the goddess, and so is this one. I really invite you to find which goddess is right for you. Inanna is the first recorded goddess from, I think it's She ended up being worshipped as Ishtar later in her incarnation. But that's the first goddess. Look for the goddess energy that really, really calls out to you. If you're Celtic, it might be Bridget. It might be if you have ties to, almost everybody has ties to Rome. So I have a tendency to really recommend a lot of Roman and Greek goddesses. Hestia is the best goddess that I know of to try and connect to first, because you're able to connect to her at home. And that's where most people feel safest. So when we open up to divine energy, it's really a good idea to do it when we feel safest. Let's go ahead, and which cards should I use first on this one? Let's go with, we're going to go with the Sacred Destiny Oracle card. Wherever possible, I'm going to show you guys the boxes on things. Third eye, your expectations of what your third eye will do are, you just need to adjust them ever so slightly. Your third eye does not exist to, I will clairvoyantly see for myself what is coming up. It's very rarely like that, because our guides work with our free will and trying to help us, put our feet on the best path for us. It's subconscious. So release the idea that you should know what's coming up, even if you're psychic, particularly if you're psychic for other people. It can be really maddening to be like, well, I don't know for myself. Because it's not meant to be a gift that gives you too much power over other people. It's meant to be a gift that you give to the world, and then it comes in for you at a level. You have the success energy, which is excellent. So if you're able to start releasing the need to know, if you're able to start releasing a need to control, there are healing Reiki healers all over YouTube. You don't need to spend much money on any of this. One of the things that I tell people on my Patreon, I have a Patreon where we do weekly readings. You're welcome to join. Links in the description box down below. Is don't forget to work with animal magic. So if you're working with oracle cards and they feature an animal like this and it's associated with success, there is a big cat called Luna the Pantera. She is owned by a woman in Siberia. Now, she's very much a house cat, but she's very, 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 very well treated. And that is one of the energies that you can start watching her shorts to open yourself up to the animal energy that has been created subconsciously in your mind to be associated with success. When you see something on an oracle card and it has an image, if you go towards that image in the 3D, it reinforces things subconsciously. There's not a lot of work to be done here, a little bit of call to be careful with your diet. And what I was trying to say earlier is please make sure you're eating fruits and vegetables at night. High water content foods before you work on your sacral chakra, or I'm sorry, your third eye chakra is one of the things that helps keep you in flow. We're working with they're not really, it's the Purple Canyon wellness cards or affirmation cards. They're often very good. What does pile number 2 need to know to be in their highest timeline? This is a general reading. If you need more information on a very specific level on it, like particularly if I'm talking about this, the way to book me for a private reading is on my website. It's the only place to book me. I don't approach people in comment sections. It's at therisingmoon.com. It's linked below. We have passions. We're going to go ahead and put this down. All right. Pursuing my hobbies and unique interests is not a waste of time. My hobbies bring me pure inner joy, and my interests light up my spirit in fantastic ways. I dismiss societal pressure and simply allow myself to enjoy the things I like. This is super important because it's about self-acceptance, but it's one of the best things about, it's one of the best tools for letting go, is developing an interest. And it does not have to be like, parasailing. One of my interests is in studying ancient history. And so whenever I really want my psychic eye to open up and I need more information, I will stick on a third eye opener and I will then study ancient history. I will keep my conscious mind engaged with something else, and I will study ancient history to try and open up to the energy of my ancestors. We're always trying to connect with our ancestral energy because they were very gifted at survival. They didn't worry about things at the same level because things were so uncertain. One of the reasons we have a heightened anxiety, which blocks our intuition in the 3D, at this particular time, is that most of us don't have to fight for food. Most of us aren't looking for clean water. If you're watching this, it's unlikely that having clean water in your life is much of a question. That's where our anxiety used to go in the past. It was in a very 3D energy. Now that we live in more structured societies, we have a tendency to sublimate that, to push it into our subconscious. And so one of the things that can genuinely help is connecting to very, very healthy habits in the 3D, because it gives you an assurance that, well, no, I know what I'm doing. I take good care of me. It's also an act of self-love. When it comes to hobbies, try to find interest and curiosity. When you want to open up your psychic eye, one of the best things that you can do is try and find an interest in this world. What intrigues you? It can be reading, it can, and there, don't judge yourself on the genre. Like if all you like is thrillers, then read thrillers. We have celebrate. You're being asked to celebrate a recent accomplishment, no matter how big or small. Do something special to commemorate the moment. You deserve that, and so much more. If you have been working on manifestations in particular, whenever anything comes in from it, celebrate. Now, it doesn't always mean buying yourself something, but it does mean treating yourself to something, which can be a nice bath, a good nap, a massage, a hot fudge sundae. Celebrate the ways in which you've made progress. Put aside a day for you and have an I'm celebrating me day. I'm celebrating me. I'm celebrating my progress. I am celebrating everything that I have gotten right in this journey. I am so proud of me. I love me. I am my best friend. Thank you for showing up for me. These are the ways you want to learn how to talk to yourself. If you're not comfortable talking to yourself that way, then you got a little bit of work to do with usually your self-image and your self-love, which can be your heart chakra. I do not have that on this table. I have a lot of like fighting against the tide, wanting to know, to assuage anxiety. That's what I've got, is that your need to know is related to anxiety. If you release it and let it go, your third eye will function incredibly well, and you'll know what to do when it's the right time to do it. We have bouquet of blossoms. Your broken wings are mending. Relax and know that you are receiving a miraculous gift of healing. So I had to move that out of the line because it's unfortunately very light text. You might not even be able to pick it up. This, by the way, is the hummingbird wisdom energy. I really like hummingbirds because they actually help you harness warrior energy. Being in your warrior energy, which warrior pose in yoga can really help with that, helps you believe in yourself, believe in your ability to get everything done that you would ever need to. It takes away, when we think we need to know, I've got to know, why isn't this happening? It's anxiety. Getting into your warrior energy is one of the things that you can do. You can actually do solar plexus work on that one as well. Some of that is going to be in spoken affirmations. That is one of, if talking to yourself, if you get used to hearing your own voice talk to you very kindly, do you need anything? Are you okay? Let's take care of you. If you learn how to hear yourself that way, then you're your best friend, your best teammate, and you're not scared of the future any longer. And so, and by the way, that has nothing to do with it's a scary world. It has nothing to do with your moral fortitude. It's that, it's a scary world. But keep telling yourself, I am connected to the energy and the power and the might of my ancestors. One of the easiest ways to connect to your ancestral energy, which will bring in that warrior energy, is to go out into nature, to separate yourself a little bit from the hoi polloi and connect to, in Japan it would be called forest bathing, where you go out with the trees. Don't have devices with you. Try to disconnect from a device as often as possible. Now, if you're hiking or something, please have your phone with you. But you can put it on airplane mode unless you need it. So that's one of the ways that you can, have a good compromise around that. But celebrating life is, before you go to bed every night, we're going to have you working on your third eye chakra. And before you do that, do yourself a favor. This is a gratitude card as much as it is anything, because it's a card of abundance. Don't forget to do a list of things for which I'm grateful. I'm grateful for maybe the comfortable bed or the great meal or the sunshine on my face or the view out my window or whatever it might be. If you don't think you have something to be grateful for, then you've got something to heal. Because it is a very difficult world indeed. And again, if you're able to focus on your healing, you're really privileged. This is a card of privilege. Remind yourself of that. It helps. It really does help to keep you. Gratitude should never be used to shame. It shouldn't be like, I should be grateful. But if you're not feeling gratitude within a moment, it's because you're not looking at your current situation very carefully for what should I be grateful for here? Whenever I glance around this room, I have artwork all over the place that people can't see. It's very important to me, and it just does wonderful things for my soul. I'm so grateful I've been able to collect so much over my lifetime. It's that kind of thing. We have a new strategy is required. Find the path to love and happiness. So a new strategy, letting go, letting go, letting go. Surrender's the hardest one because so many of the people who are drawn towards me as a reader went through tremendous trauma, because I went through tremendous trauma. And so, and like energy attracts like energy. And so the past can feel like it's going to repeat. The past isn't going to repeat. The whole reason that things are sometimes difficult is powerful people attract these people under the influence of spirit attachments and all kinds of things. And so part of you would have chosen a path knowing, I believe in myself. I am the warrior. I know I will be able to do whatever life brings me. I feel so much pride and so much joy in being me because I look at the difficult path I've had and I'm still here and I'm still trying and oh my gosh, I rock. When you start looking at yourself as like, why would I choose a rough life? It's because, well, you're super, super strong and you're powerful. And, you know, even though it can be really hard when you're in the pain to hear something like that. In fact, it can almost feel obnoxious. But the only thing that helps with the healing journey is understanding the more work I do, the less difficult this will be. The more work I do on connecting to my higher self, to the part of me that exists outside of this timeline that can give me the information at a subconscious level that will lead me to take the steps within the 3D that puts me on the path to my highest outcome, which is the same thing as your best timeline. What do we got here? We have inner alchemy. Inner alchemy is achieved when you react to fear with love. All right, so when you're feeling fear, a great thing to do is to start talking about the things that you love, the things that you're grateful for. If you're feeling fear, it's a love deficit. And if you've had toxic relationships in the past, there may be some elements of something called codependency, which is completely normal. As we are on a journey to discover our own power, it makes perfect sense that so many powerful people had to struggle with codependency, frequently because they had so much power they were a little bit afraid of it. And so they wanted somebody else there to help them with their decisions or to help them feel steady or calmer. The reality is you have the power within to do that. Gratitude is one of the greatest tools. Looking at the things that you love. One of the things that I do when I feel a little depleted is there are various things. I'm not on any social media on any real level any longer. Meaning that I don't scroll through it and things at night. But I do follow different golden retriever accounts because I love golden retrievers, and whenever I look at them, it feels like my heart's just exploding with love. And in fact, even thinking of it makes me feel that way. If you find the thing, the passion card's over here buried. Well, if you find the thing that has that passionate response in you, remember, you can revisit it. You may have to refresh it on a regular basis. The new strategy is required is if you had something that didn't work out, let it go. Look for what you learned from it, understanding that failure is a part of success because it teaches you how to do things differently. Frequently, people with a lot of power struggle with knowing how to set good boundaries. And that is one of the things that all of those struggles can teach you, is the ability to stand up for yourself and to be firm when needed, but gently firm. And that's the thing that we learn on a powerful journey, is how to handle the power we have responsibly. Okay, so the work on this one to get you to your highest timeline is in letting things go, particularly anything having to do with a past relationship. You can do some forgiveness subliminals if you're struggling with forgiveness. You can do some third eye work before you go to sleep. Unless you're prone to nightmares, then please do it first thing in the morning. And the thing that will help most with your third eye work before you go to sleep, and you don't have to do it every day of your life, you're not being sentenced to vegetable jail, is to make sure that you eat a very, very healthy diet before you do that work. Doing about 5 minutes of, you can write it down because that really helps bring it into 3D, or you can speak it aloud. Talking about or examining and writing down what you are grateful for is one of the best ways to open up only the information that leads to the most abundant timeline, because gratitude and abundance are so closely related. So it's been great to read for you. If you need me for anything, you can find me exclusively at therisingmoon.com. It's the only way to book me. I do have a Patreon, and that is linked below. That is Logical Magic Examining Esoterica. And Logical Magic Examining Esoterica is the podcast that I did. If you're at an earlier stage of your healing journey, there's like 2 years worth of episodes that will tell you how to heal your trauma. We have graduated into working on connection and manifestation, but first all trauma had to be resolved. It's great to read for you again. Take care. Be well. Welcome back. If you chose pile number 3, this is your reading. We're going to put the number 3 over here, but there are timestamps in the description box down below so that you can easily get to the timestamp for your reading. We're doing a reading on how can you jump to the highest timeline available to you. So it's likely going to be healing advice. I've been away from YouTube for a little while because I had to complete a spiritual journey of my own, and here we go. This is the Pre-Raphaelite deck. I don't have the box with it. Wherever possible on the other Oracle decks, I have the box available so that you're able to get a look at them if you like the Oracle deck. Here we go. What does pile number 3 need to know to jump to their highest timeline? Let us get going here. This is actually a really difficult deck to read, and I don't recommend it to everybody. It's the 4 of Cups in the upright. This can be things happening behind the scene. It can be discontent. This is one of the cards for luxury as well. I have the 7 of Swords in reverse. That can be a permanent situation. It can be clarity as well. I have the 3 of Wands in the upright, the ship coming in card, the opportunity, the anticipation card as well. I have the High Priestess in reverse, which is learning new things, making space on a conscious level so that your subconscious can be filled up with more information. I have the 2 of Pentacles in reverse, which can be holding somebody accountable. It can be letting somebody off the hook. The very first thing that comes through is if you're struggling with self-forgiveness for past actions when you were in an unhealed state, please, please, please forgive yourself. This is one of the cards that it's like holding somebody on the hook or letting somebody off the hook. It can also be one of the things that's being hinted at here is if you have any form of permanent chemical imbalance, know that the spiritual practices and healthy practices can help you with that. Don't be afraid to take steps in the medical community as well, okay? 2 of Swords in the upright underneath my 4 of Cups. That's an interesting one. You're not going to know what direction something is coming from. If you're very frustrated because your cards don't tell you, you can't sense it, you think you see it, but it turns out differently, that's by design. That's by design. People with anxiety tend to start to try and control things to assuage that anxiety. And so your intuition is meant to function at the best and the highest level for you. And anything that gives you a sense of control that isn't actually good for you is withheld from you. And so your intuition, and that's with everybody, works on a subconscious level. This is one of the subconscious cards. I have the Queen of Swords in reverse, which is facing a difficult truth. I really might be dealing with somebody who has a permanent health condition. Please don't feel afflicted by that. The reality is that our very first soulmate connection is actually with our physical body, because our higher consciousness in our physical body of course contains our ego, and all of our psychological and emotional responses is our very first pairing. And your higher consciousness chooses that particular body because the gifts that higher consciousness has can help with that particular body. And so it's not anything that's inflicted on you, it's that you were specially chosen by our higher consciousness to work with that energy. It can be very difficult if it's something challenging, but trying to embrace it is one of the ways that we achieve self-love. I have the Lovers in reverse, which is being in alignment. Being careful with choices too. 5 of Swords in the upright, which is a conflict card. Sometimes it's about battling our inner world. The battles that you win, but it comes at a cost as well, is present on that one. And I have the Empress in reverse, which is an innovative solution. Can also be a feeling of discontent with life. Listen, if I've got somebody here who is suffering from long-term depression, understand that's likely genetic. Do your best to take care of it. There are all kinds of free resources available. It does not preclude being psychic, and it doesn't preclude manifesting the best timeline that you can possibly have. If you're hoping for a timeline where that doesn't exist, the Seven of Swords in the upright is one of the cards for temporary situations. It's part of the reason there's a tent in the background. In reverse, it is one of the cards that can indicate that something is a permanent situation. I personally have lots of trauma-related disorders that I have been taking care of. Many of them are permanent, but I'm able to bring them into remission with good habits. It looks a little bit like it's like that. Is that something being permanent doesn't mean it won't go into remission at different points. I have the, you're the Magician. This is part of the reason that I don't recommend it. This is a fairly difficult one. This is a feeling of powerlessness when I get the Magician in reverse. It can be a form of curse as well. And then I have, this is part of the reason that I do not recommend this deck to people who aren't fairly well versed. This is the Knight of Swords. It's one of the least, that's certainty, moving forward swiftly. Oh, okay. So this is the thing that it can be very difficult. It's like, why do other people get all these crystal clear answers, but my intuition doesn't bring me crystal clear answers? It is because that we want more answers than are good for us. It's like getting a cheat sheet for a test in life. Is that when your intuition is really connected, when you're in full alignment, whatever you need comes to you. It comes to you at the time that you need it. And one of the things that I say about divine timing is it does not exist on a clock or on a calendar. It exists in a state of energetic readiness. This is one of those. The harder you fight to have your vision versus the universe's vision, the longer something takes. We have a card of a permanent situation making you feel a little bit powerless over here. But understand that like everything that is part of you is meant to be part of you. And that it's just one of the challenges. Some people like more challenge because they have a more active brain. And so that's one of the reasons that a higher consciousness might say, give me a body that is going to have a long-term challenge, just as a for instance. Work with what you have and know that everything can get better through a divine connection. What they're asking you to work on is surrender, because you fight against what looks like your basic nature sometimes. Leaning into it is part of self-love. So you're going to want to do some recordings for self-love as well, for surrender, and for releasing and detaching from outcomes. This is one of the cards for detaching from outcomes because it represents a missing puzzle piece. So you don't need all of those puzzle pieces to get a beautiful picture. You don't need to know what's coming up to have a beautiful outcome. The farther you lean in on, if I'm doing my healing work, I'm doing my psychic work. If I'm doing my healing work, I'm doing my manifestation work. If I'm doing my healing work, which includes self-love, because it looks like in this particular one, somebody is battling with something that they struggle with for themselves. For some people, it might be weight. It might be weight related. Please remember that it's a society that does not value people for really resonant reasons that tells people they have to be a certain size and shape. So if that's it for some people, please understand that has nothing to do with your eternal soul or your personal power. It's just the body that you came in, and we all have challenges in our different bodies. Nothing on this suggests anything. It's just the facing of a difficult truth is keeping you from being in alignment. And sometimes it really is hard to have something that might be permanent. But it helps you understand yourself at a higher level. Most people wander around this world very confused by who they are. It's important to have universal love and unconditional love, and to the concept that we're all one. We are, but we're not all on the same path, and we didn't all come here to do the same thing. Some people have absolutely no interest in a spiritual journey. They're the ones who are really like being excluded from a very magical world. Let's see what your soul helper has to say. Release your creative energies, make use of them in your life. When you are feeling any kind of blockage in manifestation, when you're feeling any type of blockage in the law of attraction, when you're like, this does not feel like my highest timeline, one of the best things you can do is create. Now, it can be cooking, it can be painting, it can be drawing, it can be singing. Singing little songs about what you want to have happen is one of the best ways to connect your ancestors, because they used their voices to connect so much, particularly before the written word. So one of the easiest ways to connect to that ancestral magic, which helps bring in your personal power and have things move forward more quickly, is through song, is through dance. Let's use, that by the way was the Soul Helper card. Here, I'll show you the box because I said I would. Soul Helper, love it for personal work. Can get a little bit, it'll tell you over and over again what you need to heal. So all of these cards, like, be open to the messages. When we have a response of like trying to deny something, it usually is a little bit of an ego issue. So denying a difficult truth is keeping you from being in alignment, and you're fighting a basic fact about yourself is what this is saying. Please just lean in on loving it. Just lean in on loving it. Here we go. And it doesn't matter what the rest of the world says about it. You can be your own best friend. You can be your own absolute best everything when you learn to lean in on, I love me. I am the biggest trooper. I have stuck by my side every single day of my life. Oh my gosh, anyone would be lucky to have me around. And that's how you want to look at yourself, no matter what's going on with, it looks like a slight problem with a physical house. That's all. We have endless possibilities. The possibilities of my life are endless. And this thought invigorates, this thought invigorates me. Though we ceaselessly plan ahead, anything and everything good could happen tomorrow. I can choose any path I want to be able to achieve my dreams. So this is it. If you are fighting something about yourself, and I will use myself as an example because it's the easiest way to get people to understand that, like, we all go through this. I have an anxiety disorder. I have it in remission. I actually work really, really well, but it's something that is likely permanent because it comes from trauma. And that's just a natural part of me. I'm neurodivergent as well, and so I can struggle with letting things go. It's a natural part of me. That if I lean in on learning how to accept me, then the possibilities open up. And don't think that if you have some kind of limitation in the external world, that it means anything about what is possible for you. All right, so that's the thing to remember. We sometimes fight our truth thinking that it defines an aspect of us. And all it really defines is whether or not we're being loving and self-accepting. Here is the Hummingbird Wisdom deck. Like I said, wherever I could, I brought the boxes out because people frequently want to know what the oracle cards are. And I took a really long break as I completed some work that I needed to do. Wishing well, this is an interesting one. Your heart's desires are taking flight joyfully and magically. It looks like the only block in you is self-love and self-acceptance. So the thing that you're going to want to do is listen to a lot of self-affirmations. It helps to record them yourself. I tell people on my Patreon that, like, to record your own affirmations. We've done a whole project with it. But record your own affirmations, talking to yourself about, I love me, I accept me, I'm exactly as I am meant to be, everything good is happening for me, everything is coming towards me. If you don't, and I trust the timing of my life completely, I trust divine timing. Everything happens when I'm in perfect alignment, and I am in alignment now. I love and embrace myself. These are things that you can say that will help speed the path along a little bit. If you're not comfortable doing that, you could record it on voice memo on your phone. If you're not comfortable doing that, all over YouTube, wonderful, wonderful ASMR healers, Reiki healers are doing affirmations. I think it's Jason Bosk is one of them. You can listen to other people's affirmations. Eventually, when they start to take root, the ones that are going to be the most effective and the most powerful for you are going to be in your own voice. So the only thing holding you back is a little bit of a block on self-love and fighting some things about yourself. Connect. You're being asked to connect with others in meaningful ways. Sometimes it's helpful to get new perspectives and to simply be around other people. You're in need of this right now, and deep connections will benefit you in many ways. If you are lacking in 3D connections, the easiest thing to do is join an online support group or take a class. If you're really out of practice, start with the online and then move to the 3D. If you volunteering is one of the easiest ways to connect with others, as for instance, pet shelters always need people to walk dogs for them. But connecting is also connecting to our spiritual source. And one of the things that would help in this is to set aside time each day. And I know it's a crazy world. Sometimes it's hard to find our time. Set aside time each day, either before bed or right after you wake up, is prime to just try to connect to your guides, to sit quietly if you're not comfortable meditating. When people are struggling with self-acceptance, sometimes they don't feel the return on their guides yet because they have that block. When we open up our love to self, when we're like, hey, I love me, I can feel like I'm in love every single day of my life when I discover my self-love. When I really discover myself, and it's not the same thing as thinking you're perfect. That you can know that you're like working on something your whole life. We all have different challenges. And the challenges that we have are, we're given the skills to meet them on a spiritual level. But it does block flow. Oh, patience, I see. All right, so this is obviously, to Patience, New Beginnings. Okay. We're going to talk now. Every other pile got one card on that, but two came out for you, so we're going to talk about this. You're going to be listening to affirmations, listening to some self-love recordings as well, and you need to have patience with the process. In order to have something lasting come in, and I've talked a lot about this, you have to be healed. If you manifest atop a bunch of trauma wounds or a lack of self-acceptance or a lack of self-love, the tower principle comes in, and anything built on a faulty foundation falls. If you take the time to heal first, then whatever comes to you will be retained by you for however much time we have left in the world. If you're struggling with patience, if you're like, if I need this to make me feel better, you're looking to an external source to heal an internal wound. Pile 3, your answer is really in learning how to connect to the idea that all the love in the world is waiting for you in your divine connection. But first comes the acceptance of self and not hiding from whatever it is you might be trying to heal. If you get angry and you speak unkindly, then you're working on kindness. And you start by speaking very kindly to yourself. And that is one of the ways that you can speed your healing journey along. But you did actually get a card for patience on this one with New Beginnings. And that's likely your guides trying to reassure you that, hey, a new beginning is coming to you. There's something blocking your connection, and it does have to do with self-acceptance. Work on self-love. It can feel very phony at first, but it gets easier and easier and easier. The other thing you can do is stimulate your heart chakra with, we've got these release your creative energies. Anything that really touches you in a good way. I wouldn't recommend romance necessarily, because that can stir up longings for people. But as I tell people in my Patreon, I follow a bunch of golden retriever groups because I love golden retrievers. They're very, very sweet, and they make my whole heart just go, oh, I love you, you're so wonderful, you're so cute. And that's one of the ways that you can work with something, is you go towards something that you love, that you'll have that response to, and you really concentrate on your heart chakra, feeling it in your heart chakra. You do something, witness something, engage in something. It can be dancing, it can be viewing something, it can be drawing, it could be anything that you personally love. You focus on your heart chakra and having it open up. So the other work that you can do is heart chakra. The awesome thing about heart chakra is that there's no time of day that's wrong for it. A lot of these sacral chakra things, I'm telling people you have to use them in the morning. A lot of the times when we're working with personal power, it's like, please don't do your solar plexus 2 minutes before you fall asleep. Oh my God, will your dreams be off the charts and you'll wake up exhausted. Heart chakra, anytime, because love and connecting to universal love, not trying to give it to another specific person, particularly a partner. Love comes from within first. All the love you've ever felt for another person is actually just the love that you feel. It wasn't dependent on that other person. It was dependent on your heart chakra waking up. So working with your heart chakra as much as possible. There are healing for it. And what can you do if you're like, I don't really connect to energy healings? Do the work I was just talking about. I use the example of golden retrievers and how I can't look at one without wanting to squish it and love it and call it George. I really, really love dogs. So dogs work for me. Find what yours is. Find what yours is. Take a great big, I love this energy bath with the things that you're putting in. It could be something funny. It could be something sweet. Anything that starts, you can feel an emotional response that's positive, and then you really, really, really focus on your heart chakra, envisioning it getting bigger and bigger. Focus on the color green or bright pink when you're trying to expand your heart chakra. Your heart chakra is just a little bit something, yeah, 2 on this one too. Meditation, abundance. Okay, so they want you working with abundance energy as well. That makes sense to me. Meditation, take a moment to connect to source, connect, echo, through quiet, reflective meditation. And then abundance, when your heart's intention is to serve humanity, doors of abundance naturally open. So the idea of giving and receiving comes in here too. This is one of the cards for we're sending something out rather than bringing it in. One of the things that you need to do is do some balancing activities every day. It can simply be listening to chakra alignments. It can be doing balancing work through yoga, tai chi, any other type of balance work can work as well. This is a slight card of being out of balance and learning more about it. If you had something that disappointed you in the past that you're like, no, that was my heart's desire and it didn't work out. If it didn't work out, it wasn't the right thing for you. And like telling yourself that is, you know, figuring out how to be at peace with the state of affairs as they are. It's called radical acceptance, is one of the ways that you can move forward easily. They do want you working with some abundance energy, and you can work with any of the abundance goddesses as well, because you've got multiple goddess cards here. What you want to do is you're going to listen to for between about, you know, I would say 15 to 20 minutes a day and see how you react to it. Don't forget that your guides can lead you to the best sources, so run your own searches on that. Look up the goddesses of abundance and see which ones you really resonate with, because one of the things that can help you to feel more connected is to learn more about the goddesses of abundance. Abundance is having more than you know, is having plenty, that feeling of ease, that feeling of just gratitude in all things. You have a slight block around that. It's pretty slight. I would really recommend the affirmations first. If you don't like speaking aloud, writing things down can help as well. The other thing that can really, really help is gratitude listing, where you sit down and you simply list aloud or writing it down all the things that you're grateful for. That is something that can help too. Pile number 3, your biggest struggle with getting to your highest timeline is thoroughly embracing self-love and abundance, and then releasing something, a feeling of discontent, of something that was denied to you in the past. Most of the time I see that with relationships. And if it didn't work out with something, remember, how we see somebody is not necessarily who they are. We see them as we wish to see them. And a lot of times psychic people and healers see people in their divine light rather than who they're choosing to be in the earthly realm. And accepting that you're seeing a version of them that they're not bringing into the 3D and releasing it is the easiest way to move forward happily. And knowing that releasing that which isn't meant for us is the easiest way to bring in that which is. So to jump to your highest timeline, get working on your heart chakra at any time of the day. Positive affirmations that center on self-acceptance and self-love. Pile number 3, if you need to book me for a reading or anything, you can find me at therisingmoon.com exclusively. I have a Patreon called Logical Magic Examining Esoterica, where I do weekly readings where we talk about what people are working on, what challenges they might face. That is linked in the description box down below. And I have a podcast, Logical Magic Examining Esoterica, out every first Thursday of the month. Video versions are posted on this channel, but they are also available on all major services. It was great to read for you again. Love yourself. You're exactly as you're meant to be.